how it works out and stuff like that. He's just like, yeah, I mean, why not? So then we started off that. We weren't doing anything too crazy as like we are doing now. I guess just smaller lists at that time. And I mean, here we are.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome. So tell me a little bit about, as a marketer, I mean, this is one thing that I know for a fact is, a lot of you guys want to do real estate and there's varying levels as we go on. We're going to talk more of the advanced stuff. For some of you guys, I don't mean to bore you, but if you are newer, you have to understand that this isn't a real estate business. Wholesaling is not a real estate business. Like this is a common association. I've been in the game for 8 years. Wholesaling is not a real estate business. It is 100% a marketing business. It's all an attention business. It's all getting marketing, getting it out, getting attention, and creating rapport enough to do a deal with somebody that they trust you, they want to work with you, and then from there you wholesale the transaction or however you want to do the deal. So with real estate, sometimes you have to try different things. Ted, you tried everything. You did bandit signs. You've done cold calling, you've done SMS. Tell me a little bit about what SMS did for you and how many deals are you guys doing with SMS now?
Yeah. What SMS did for me was, I guess, to be more comfortable with the whole marketing thing. I think Manny could tell you that Manny and Frank can tell you I wasn't too good at cold calling. I wasn't the best at cold calling. So I found SMS, maybe I'm not going to say it's easier, but I'm going to say it was a little bit easier for me to respond to people through the phone or through a screen. And then as I was doing SMS, I was slowly building up, and I'm still slowly building up to be a solid closer on the phone. I think SMS gave me the more confidence to be just better on the phone, really. Because you really, at the end of the day, you really have to close these people over the phone.
Yeah.
Over
all practice. All practice. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think that's what it did the most for me. It was really easy for me to talk to people much more.
A lot more people in a shorter period of time. I mean, you can talk to 1,000 people in a matter of a day, whereas 1,000 people would take you weeks or something to call. So that's the whole concept. And just for the idea, that's the whole idea of why I built SMS prospecting. So Ted, now that we're on that topic, and for some of you guys that are already using it, my goal, and for me, I'm the founder. Obviously I built this tool, but I don't want to stop there. Like my goal isn't to just say, hey, here's a tool, you guys figure it out. Like I really want to try to find the best in the game. I want to find these guys and people that are successful so you guys can take tips from how they're doing it and really improve your business. That's my part to do in our partnership together as we grow. So what I'd like you to do is, show me some of your tricks of how you are able to use the Smarter Contact SMS, how you use it, how you maximize the system, and how you're capturing your leads. So if you could share your screen and show us a little bit about what you're doing, and if you could share some tips with the audience.
Yeah, of course. We're all seeing this page, right?
Yeah.
Okay, good. Yeah, so I guess we can go straight into scripts, right? I think that's what everybody wants to see. That's what everybody wants to hear. I mean, that is the moneymaker at the end of the day. So we'll go.
Campaigns for days.
So we have a few first messages, I would say.
Right.
Depending on different thing, code violation, first text, high equity. High equity is a good one, especially for landlords. Just stuff like reaching out. I mean, it's all pretty much the same message, really. It's just different ways of how to change a word here and there, how to do little changes here and there. Some of them I add my name, some of them I don't. Sometimes I'd even add their name, just sending out a random text to them, and I mean, people get a good response out of that. I think I want to say I mean, all these are really solid lists. I think one of my tips off the back is have multiple first text. Um, as I would say, like right here we have 6 or 7, but alternate them as you do different campaigns. Um,
Mm-hmm. I see the same thing. I mean, we've got a lot of feedback from customers, and what we find works is something that's personal. Like,
mhm.
hey, I accidentally found your number. Like, obviously it wasn't an accident, but the tips and tricks that I've learned from so many of my customers is that, hey, I randomly, stumbled and I found your property, and what are the coincidences? Or I drove by your house and I saw your property. You wouldn't be interested in selling, would you? Something like that, where it's completely like reverse psychology. It's a very reverse psychology. But what I found is when you're more direct, when you're like, hey, do you want to sell your house to me? Yes or no? Like that shit doesn't work. That shit doesn't work. You got to keep it like very indirect and subtle and fun. Even I've even seen somebody said like, hey, like, hey, listen, I'm on my deathbed. It's my dying wish to buy your house or something like that.
I mean, if it gets their attention, man, that's all that matters is get their attention.
Yeah.
I actually took down the note to make it personal. That's actually a really good point. Everybody that's listening, that's actually a really good point. For us, I try to do it more direct, and um, I mean it's working for us, and I could see how making it personal will work a lot better actually. So probably after this call, I'm gonna be changing up some more of these scripts and
Always improving. Yeah, always tweaking it, always improving it. So that's cool. So you have the tip for the audience: have multiple messages. Actually, and to pivot into this, we're releasing a major update in the next couple of days. I've been working very hard on this for quite some time, and it's going to allow you to go through multiple different messages, the click-through features, all of everything. I mean, we spent tons and tons and tons of time on this, but it's going to allow you to have multiple messages. So you can have like 10 and within one campaign, send different messages. And what's really cool is with the algorithm that we built in Smarter Contact is there is nobody that's going to have the deliverability that we have because of the algorithm that was pre-planned and pre-built into it. So we've had success sending out messages as big as you want with the messages going through. But now even we're giving you the ability to send different messages within a campaign. So that'll be out in the next couple of days. I'm pretty excited to release that. So you guys will see that to the current customers that have been with us for a while.
yeah, man, look forward to it. I know y'all put in a lot of time. I know the other day you posted something at 2 a.m. going through the updates and stuff. I mean,
Yeah,
it's awesome, man.
I live, breathe, eat, and sleep this business, man. So it's yeah, it's fun. It definitely can get pretty fun, and yeah, I try to be all in it for you guys. So, what other tips do you have? So the messages, that's great. What are the best times? From your experience, what are the best times of day to message people?
Man, that's a really good question. I've been actually experimenting a lot with that, especially with my VA. We were doing it around 9:30 a.m. and I found that the response rate is a little bit lower than what we're wanting it to be. Um, I know I read somewhere that the best time to text somebody is like around 9, 10 o'clock once they're getting to work. I would say getting to work around that time. But I found the best time for us is around lunchtime.
Yeah, yeah, because what we found in the analytics that we found is people in the morning, they have a lot of things to do. They're on their way to work. They have their list, just like like me, like you, every single person on this call. You probably have your 3 or 4 things you got to do in the morning. Take the kids to school, talk to your boss, talk to your spouse, whatever problem you have to handle that day. But then once that's cleared up, then yeah, then you're more free to talk about things that at that moment don't matter as much, which your text message isn't the top priority that somebody has. So what we found is usually between 11 to 6 is what we found. I don't know if you had some similar statistics, but we're finding about 11 to 6.
Yeah, I would say that's what I was about to say. That's probably the best time. I found from I think around 12, you're catching people on their lunch breaks most of the time.
Yeah.
And I don't know about everybody else, but when I'm eating, I kind of have my phone right here, maybe even watching something on YouTube, um, something like that. And if I see a text, I'm gonna look at it just
Yeah.
because I'm on my phone already. It's already there. So I found around 12 to 1:30 is probably the best time, the prime time to send out text, really. Um, and then also from 4 to 6 is a good time too. I wouldn't say 4 so much. If you send out the text at 4, people will most likely respond like around 5 or 6, only because of people are driving home, people are in traffic, they're probably picking up their kids, stuff like that. But around 5 to 6, people are starting to wind down for the night. So I
Mm.
found that's also a really good time to send out text, especially for high equity. It's a little deep right
Got
there.
it. Got it. And then how do you deal? Because you're central. So one thing that a lot of people overlook is that the U.S. is large. There's different time zone within the country. So you're central time. How do you position that? Do you take into account that some people are in Cali, some people are on East Coast?
Yes. Um, Well, for most of the lists that we hit out, we're hitting mostly Texas, which is, I mean, central. But sometimes there are those landlords that do live in California, that do live out east. Uh, they're just in different time zones, really. Um, so sometimes we don't. Sometimes I don't really keep that in mind. Sometimes I do forget that most people don't. I mean, some landlords don't really live in Texas or don't live near the houses that they own. So they'll probably get the text like around, if I send it like at 1, I mean, they're getting it at what, 11, right?
Hmm. Yeah. So,
Yeah.
so so just planning out that, hey, I mean, you're central time, so you're kind of in between, but somebody who's Eastern, it might not be a good idea to start at 10, knowing that a lot of your people on that list will probably be, it might be 9 or 8 a.m. So just adjusting based on your time zone. So that's a good point there. Um, And then in terms of like a text per day, what have you guys found? I mean, do you guys do the blanket approach and send it to everybody? Do you send to us a catered list? Like, what's your strategy?
Yeah. I've, we like to do a more direct approach. I guess that includes probate, affidavits, very niche stuff.
Mm.
I found that most of the time those lists are around what, 1,000, 1,500 most of the time. And for that, I usually would break out the list. I mean, I would usually send out the entire list, but I'm breaking it down for the entire day, if that makes sense. But
Yeah,
if it's more of a, if it's more of like a, let's say high equity or just a tax lien or something like that, we, it's usually a huge list. I'd say like around 10,000 or so. So I break down that list for 1,000 each campaign, and then from there we just recycle and stuff like that.
got it. Got it. Okay. Yeah. So that's gold, and that's what we find too. Is we've seen people blanket lists like crazy, but we've also seen that the people that get the deals the most are targeting a seller that that they're motivated. They're being stacked. Shout out to Austin with REI Sift. They are amazing, and they'll actually stack your list to find out who's most targeted. Let's say it's somebody that's tax default and maybe they had a code violation or something like that, or uh, a tenant move out, just stacked list, targeted, and then with good rapport, good follow up. That works a lot better than just mass blasting everybody. I mean, you can do that, but
Yeah.
it's definitely more of a effective approach. Not to be prescriptive, but that's what we found here in the feedback. So that's good. In terms of your text per deal, what's your text per deal? How many texts you sent out to get a deal?
Text per deal, I want to say it's around 3,000.
Wow, that's good.
Yeah,
3K.
3,000.
That's pretty good. We're seeing anywhere from average 3 to 6,000 on average, like 3 to 5, even 6 is on the high side. But 3,000, that means you guys have the system dialed in, and you're probably targeting a stacked list that's more motivated.
Yeah.
So, how many times do you have to follow up with somebody?
Follow up with somebody. That's a good question. I guess the correct answer is as many times as it takes, really. But most of the time, it's as long as, if people don't say that if people don't say F off, people don't say leave me alone, people don't say anything negative like that,
Yeah.
we're gonna keep on following up with them. If they say call me back in a month, we're calling them back in 2.5 weeks. Uh, but most of the time, it's mostly like for the deals that I've gotten. Sometimes one of the deals I've gotten, actually, I had to follow up with her for almost 3 to 4 months, and that's the time that it took to close her. And right now, Manny and I are actually still working on the deal that we've been following up with this lady for almost an entire year. So really, just however many times it takes to get that yes and get that final yes.
Yeah. Okay. All right. And then just addressing a quick question here on the chat. Yes, this will be recorded. So we will have a recording of this on our YouTube page, and then also probably HBHS will have a copy as well. So we will have a recording. So Ted, I want to know what's the secret sauce? Let's say I'm a seller, and I said, "Hey Ted, yeah, nope, not right now. I'm not interested, but I may be interested down the line." When would you follow up with me?
2 weeks.
Week?
2 weeks.
Number?
And I'll bring up what we talked about in the conversation. Let's say we're talking, you and I are talking. You say, yeah, but not right now, and I don't know, maybe sometime in May or June, or sometime. Let's say in 2 months, right? Like let's say you say 2 months.
Mm-hmm.
I'll call you from 2 weeks from now and just be like, hey, Adam, we talked a few weeks ago about your property here, and I know you
So you
said,
call over text.
yeah. I
Okay.
would call if I already talked to them, or okay, if they send a text and they say in 2 months, I'll put them in a follow up campaign, and they'll just get a generic type message. I guess it'll just be like, hey, we talked a few weeks ago, just calling to see if you, or just sending a text to see if you still had any interest, or if you were still interested.
Mm-hmm.
But most of the time, I guess one of the keys is just to get on the phone. If it's gonna be a follow up, get on the phone with them. I guess that's one of my tips for that.
Got it. Okay. What is your yeah, so that's interesting. So you've got a system where you're following up and you prefer to call and build the rapport over the phone. Okay.
Yeah.
What would
But you,
be
you can
yeah,
close these people over a text, though. You
I've
can't
seen
close people over the text.
yeah, I've seen it plenty of times. Okay. And then what kind of macros do you use? Yeah, so there are two big things I want to get from you today. I want to get your macros that you set. So for anybody who doesn't know, macros are going to be your canned responses. So when you're sending out a blast, and I'll just go over this quickly for 30 seconds here, but when you're sending out a blast, people are going to respond with all types of messages. You're going to say, yes, I'm interested. No, I'm not interested. Go play in traffic. They're going to tell you all types of shit. It's just kind of it's the name of the game. And if you don't have thick skin, this is not the marketing tool for you, because people are going to call you names. People are not going to be really friendly to you. But the point is, you're going to get all types of messages. And whether it's you responding or even a virtual assistant responding, which we're seeing a lot of, you want to have some kind of canned response. And what that is just like a copy paste of a response where it's fully effective. You don't have to craft it. You don't have to think about it. And it'll just be the perfectly worded response. So for example, if somebody says, hey, yes, I'm willing to sell my house for 300,000 to you, and the house is worth 300,000. You're not going to be able to do anything with that deal, possibly a sub-2 scenario, or you could trigger it for a realtor, and you have a perfect canned response that says, hey, John, I appreciate the trust, and I would love to work with you, but that's not something that I'm able to pay. But I have an agent that would be able to help you get that number, and so a canned response. So Ted, if you can go into your canned responses, what macros do you have set up on the system?
Yeah, you can see my screen, right?
I believe so. Can you guys see it? Yeah. All right, cool. Yeah, so we can see it now.
Great. So for
Damn,
me,
lunch.
yeah, that's what I was gonna go into. Is we have a lot, because with me and my VA, I like to make sure that she's getting the correct response for any situation, really. So I mean, I met with her. We were on a Zoom call and all that stuff. But we made up all these responses just to get each message that anybody would send. So let's say, how'd you get my number? Good question. I use a website called White Pages. It gives me some numbers that might be related to the property.
Mm-hmm.
Something quick, something easy, I mean, it's simple to them. And
And I like
honestly,
that it's positive, like, hey, good question. It's not negative. Like, how'd you get my number? Like, thanks. Like, thanks for, I'm glad you asked me that. Like, it's something like reframing it in a positive light. I love that.
yeah, because then it gets them out of that negative, like, oh, this guy's just trying to scam me or something. Oh no, it's a good question. It's a positive backing to what you just asked. I mean, I understand why you're asking that question, but let me tell you how I got your number.
Tons of psychology behind that. I love it.
uh, yeah, is if you ask what's your offer, and I get that a lot. There's a lot of people that are gonna be like, "What's your offer? Just send me an offer," um, stuff like that. Well, yeah, my offer will be based off the condition of the property. Can you tell me a little bit about the property, please? Saying please is big, actually, like huge.
Mm.
People love that. People
Like
people
being
love.
respectful.
Yeah,
With yeah. Just you're edifying them. It's still respectful. It's fun, but they're still holding the power in that aspect of it.
exactly. And if they say yes, great. Can you help me understand the condition of the property? If no, I totally understand. Hey, just real quick, would you be open to listening to an offer? That I mean, that alone is it's a key because most of the time they'd be like, hey, sure, why not? It's just an offer. Um, but you never know. I mean, it could work out. It's for everybody else. You get a lot of responses. If they say no and you send out that message, you will get a response back, no,
Yeah.
like off the back.
I love that.
Um,
Just a quick pause. I cannot stress the value of what this is right here. This is huge to anybody that has the software now. If you do not have this set up and your macros, do it. Take a screenshot of this and like get this kind of stuff up. And if you look at the psychology, right? If you just quick pause, quick time out on the psychology and understanding just human interaction. Somebody doesn't know you and they ask a question. It's almost like a shit test. They're asking you, are you just another person trying to buy my house? Like no, like you're creating authority. You're creating a positive relationship here by saying, good question. You know what? I'm glad you asked. We're so much different than everybody else. We did do this. Okay, great. What's a good timeline? So you're reframing the conversation back from negative to, no, I'm glad you asked that question. And then now being the true professional in this experience, which is how they're going to work with you again. So, yeah, this is great. If you guys want to take a screenshot, this will be really valuable. And obviously, you don't have to use it verbatim. Use your own style. Use your own style of what works best for you, your common scenarios, that kind of thing. Sorry to cut
yeah.
you off, man. I
No,
know
you-
it's important enough.
um. So what was that? Oh, number 5. If they tell you about the condition, see, that was my, I guess, ideology behind it. Is I want there to be a macro response for each response that they had. So the VA could just literally just click, just click, just click, and it'll be easy for her. So let's say they do respond to the condition of the property. Okay, sounds good. Ballpark figure. I mean, ballpark. How much would you consider for the property? If they respond to the price, great. Is there a timeline you're looking to work with? And it's pretty much for me to qualify is to get the 4 pillars of whatever what's that TTP, timeline, price, motivation, and condition. So that's really what we're just asking for in the macro responses. Hey, if they say a wrong number, oh, wrong number, sorry about that. Hey, by chance, do you have any properties you may consider selling? You never know. You never know with that one. I mean, I do have the wrong number, and I'm sorry about that. But do you have any properties you would consider selling? Hey, you never know.
Yeah, and I have Alex Jandik on. I know he's on. What's up, Alex? He did a webinar with me a while ago, and he said the same thing. Not every negative you still have a response for somebody that says, I'm not looking to sell my house, or I have you have the wrong person. Maybe they have a cousin that needs to sell their house.
Mhm.
So it's like leaving one common mistake that I see amongst users is they leave every no just untouched. And
Yep.
if you could just quickly send a message and say like, oh, I really appreciate it. If you know anybody maybe a cousin, friend, relative, sister, brother, let me know, and deals come out of that. I think Alex probably scooped up a couple deals from that, just a no that turned into a yes.
Yeah, that's a really, I mean, that's a golden nugget right there. I mean, like you said, not every negative is a negative. There might be some positive at the end of that wrong number, or at the end of that no.
Yeah.
If response to the timeline, great. If it looks like it fits our criteria, are you up to a quick phone call? And if you say quick phone call, people would just think 10 minutes, 15 minutes. And that is a quick phone call. And that's usually how long it takes to get an offer out. So, I mean, it's just something to get them on the phone. Most of the time, I would say you would want to get these people on the phone. It's just easier to build rapport. I guess people want to know that they're talking to a real person. That's actually that's actually how I got one of the deals I got was, I mean, she thought she was just texting with the computer. I mean, she is, but she thought she was just like texting to a machine. And I called her and she's just like, "Oh, I thought it was just like a machine or a computer." I was like, "No, it's me. I'm a real person." And she's like, "Oh, great." And then we got into building rapport and stuff like that. If they say no to the phone call, just tell them, "Okay, I understand. May I have your email address so I can submit an offer?" If they say no to a phone call, that's when that's when it tends to get a little sketchy. Might have the wrong number and they're just messing with you. So, I mean, if you get their email address and their email address is their person's name or something unique like that, then, I mean, you have the right number. But if not, then if they don't respond back to the email, then most of the time they're not legit.
Yeah. You're getting rickrolled.
Yeah.
You're getting rickrolled. That's
The
awesome.
VA made up these last two ones. Are you an investor? Yeah, I buy properties all throughout Texas. I either fix, flip, or hold as a rental. You have any interest in selling? Stuff like that.
I like the gray. It's such a good emotional spike. Good question. It just creates that positive emotional spike there. So now getting into your messenger, I want to see how you classify your grades. So with Smarter Contact, one thing we're very efficient with the CRM. I spent a lot of time designing and building an efficient CRM. So if you're good on the macros, I would want to talk to you about how you classify your grades, what grades you guys create to track your deals as they come in.
Yeah, of course. So we really just keep it really simple. Cold lead, hot lead, warm lead.
Wow.
Uh, if they,
That's simple, man. That is
yeah,
simple.
I mean, the way I see it is, you want a 10-year-old to be able to do this.
Yeah.
Just make it really simple for yourself. Make it really simple for your VA. The easier it is, I mean, the easier the flow is. The way I see it.
Mm-hmm.
So we keep it really simple. Cold lead. If they say no thanks, no thank you, take my name off your list, stuff like that. Um, Most of the time, if they say stuff like that, we'll put them on DNC.
Got it.
You know, if it's a warm lead, they usually said something like, as far as, yeah, make an offer, stuff like that. Consider an offer. Why not give me an offer? Stuff like that. And hot leads is more of, yeah, I want this amount. I want to sell by this time. Or we've gone through the pillars with them. So now we know that they're more qualified. Yeah,
Sure.
I mean, we just keep it really
So
simple.
you didn't make it overly complex of, cold, hot. It's just very simple. All right. Yeah. The only other one that I see that's pretty common is verified. And one thing I see some people use is I use the star feature to say, hey, it's a verified person.
Mhm.
And then the rest of them they'll classify. And just for the beginners who haven't used it, like the system is very pliable. It's very malleable. Every feature in there, you can edit grades, you can edit fields. Every single thing is super trackable. So if you're just using SMS, there's really no point in using any other CRM or paying for another CRM because you have it all built into it. Where it's effective is if you're doing calling, you're doing direct mail, and you've got multiple marketed channels, then a CRM would be helpful. But the CRM built into here is already extremely valuable. Are you guys using folders at all?
Yeah. I think we tried it out with the VA. She didn't really keep up too much on it. We tried implementing them a little bit, but sometimes they work. Sometimes they worked for us. Sometimes they didn't, just because I guess our VA just didn't stay on it. But we do have some wrong numbers or a wanted offer. This is a good folder, and I go through this. I go through these the interested in the wanted offer. I go through them, call them as a cold lead, and
Sure.
just do something like that. Want an agent, whether it's not now, and this is a follow up one. Exactly not this time. And all of these are, I mean, these are still leads. You can still follow up with them. You can still put them in a campaign.
Yeah.
Um,
And this is going to be the value. And this is what we're taking Smarter Contact to a whole new level. I mean, we've got so many things planned. Just I'll speak on the future of the platform, and what I've been designing and building is this is just 10% of where we have to go. But one big step that we want to do is, for you guys buying the software, you're paying a monthly rate. It's 100, $200 a month. So part of what I want to provide is this being a tool not only to source your deal, but to sell your deal. And we're going to start offering some training. We've got some new systems that are being set up this week for you guys to be able to do that. But we have a lot of big players selling their deal. So as soon as they have it under contract, you're already paid for the subscription. Don't send your deal by email. It's going to get drowned out in somebody's inbox of 50 emails a day. You want to stay in contact with your investors via text too. So this is like the double whammy of how you use Smarter Contact. Have you guys started dispoing your deals that way?
no, we have not.
Okay.
Well, honestly, I don't really know. I'm more of just acquisition. Mike, he's more of the dispositions. I think we tried it. I'm not sure how everything went though,
Yeah.
but I know there are people doing it.
Yeah. I'll talk to Mike about that, and we'll see how we can get you guys to use that. But that's a big point of how a lot of users are using it now. I have like Sean Terry, he's been like raving about how it's killing it for him. Even, texting for buyers too. So it's kind of a double whammy.
And in hindsight, man, it's the same thing. Like people, I mean, everybody has a phone. Everybody's gonna check their text messages first.
It is crazy. So today, man, I was going nuts today. So I subscribe to Ed Milet. I love inspiration and motivational videos. Ed Milet had Gary Vaynerchuk on him today, on his episode today, and this was just huge. And they're talking, and then Ed asked Gary, anybody know Gary Vaynerchuk is like the king of digital media. He's probably he's the number one authority in that space. He said, what business do you think is the next thing you would invest in? I mean, this guy invested in Facebook, Twitter, Tumblr, Instagram, just about anything that was coming up way ahead of its time. He's like SMS, without any doubt. SMS is 100% the way to go. So, for you guys that aren't really utilizing it, or if you're just halfway in, go all in on this. This is really creating the results. And if you dial in the systems, if you dial the systems in, it's going to create some great value for you. Okay, so we got the macros down. We have the CRM down. Like any other value you'd like to drop?
Yeah. I guess one of the big things that people worry about is, especially in analytics, is the delivery rate.
Mm-hmm.
Guys, I mean, it's probably one of the most important things, one of the most important numbers to SMS. If your messages aren't delivering, then I mean, there's no way you can get your message across to people. For that, I would recommend maybe sending out your list in smaller increments, especially during time. Let's just go to campaign really quick. So when we're here, send all leads at once. Click on no. I would recommend sending out 50 to 75 messages every 20 minutes, 30 minutes. Yeah, the list is going to take a little bit longer to finish, but you're making sure, and also it depends on your data, but you're making sure that that your messages deliver to the people, because that's at the end of the day, that's the most important thing, is getting a message to their phone. So that's one of my tips. I don't really tell a lot of people that, but I mean, we're here now, so might as well just tell everybody everything.
No doubt. I mean, we haven't really, we went through, and this has been a big talking point in the industry, is we went through and, some other players are having issues sending out their messages. They even tell you that you can't use certain keywords like buying or selling or interested. Like I just saw this floating around with one of the major platforms. We went through our customer data. We went through 100 plus accounts, and we see those same words going through without any issue. And that really speaks on the delivery algorithm that we spent a ton of time building. I mean, I was one of the pioneers when I first built this years ago. And that was something that we found was an attention point that I wanted to spend a ton of time on. So in terms of delivery, there's really bar none. It's very hard to beat what we've built in terms of getting your text out, but it does help in terms of also managing your leads, being able to respond to them quickly, not flooding your inbox. And we're always adding more features as well. So for example, one cool thing is we have a number killing algorithm where basically your numbers expire after X time, and then after X time, you can still respond to existing conversations. You can track those burn numbers. So we do that. That's the science of this. That's what you get with Smarter Contact is you get that pre-built. We rotate your numbers and we take care of the algorithm so the texts go through. And that's the biggest value of what the system does on top of the CRM and everything else.
Yeah. And the way, like, it all ties together, really. If you're sending out 50 messages per 20 minutes, you're probably going to get what, 20% response rate? That's what, 10 messages every 20 minutes? Guys, if you're not responding to your text within 20 minutes, 10 texts within 20 minutes, I mean, that's probably one of the bottlenecks is you're not responding fast enough to these messages.
Yeah.
That's just a tip of mine, I guess.
Got it. All right, so let's hit the Q&A. A lot of people, you guys have been asking questions. So what's a good, let's see some good Q&A questions here came in. All right, so now would be a good time to ask your questions. We have, will it be a replay? Yes. No, I know some of text templates you add their first name. Is that good working format? So yeah, Haley, yeah. So in the message, you always want to have at least one rotating message, at least one rotating text. So hi, Haley. Hi, John. Hi, Ted. I saw your property. Double points if you get two with the address or another field in there. I will have to go back to work. Will this be recorded and sent out? Yes. Alejandro, are you sending out messages during COVID? Yeah. Can you speak on that?
Yeah. I've actually found people are kind of, I wouldn't say negative right now, but the responses are coming in a little bit more negative. Whether it be cussing you out, whether it be just maybe not right now. You see, those are the ones that you want to keep, are the ones that say not right now, maybe till after COVID's done or all this is over with. Maybe just throw that into your CRM and keep it as a follow-up. The feedback though is the response rate is actually very high. I'm actually getting like 26-27% response rate. That's actually really high to me. And I mean, you just gotta work with what you get, really. Most of the time, or sometimes there's gonna be those few that just be like, yes, I want to sell, or yes, maybe in a week or so, or yes, just for a certain amount, and just focus on the positive ones. Like Adam said earlier, you have to have thick skin, especially right now with all these negative messages coming in.
And then now with COVID, this is a great point that was brought up. How are you structuring a contracts? Are you getting longer contract periods to see what happens in the market? Are you getting bigger deposits, inspection periods? How are you pivoting with COVID?
I can't really speak on the contracting part. I want to say it's around the same 30 to 45 days. But really, I mean, yeah, I would say it's still all the same, really. Just 30 to 45 days on the contracting end. Yeah.
Got it. Okay. Yeah, and that was a rhetorical question, at least on my side, because I have seen some other people extend their contracting period just because there's a lot of unpredictability right now. We don't know what's happening in the market. There's a lot of fear going on. So as a buyer, you can dictate terms. There's not as many buyers for their real estate, and if you can extend the time, it gives more time for you to get more information on what the market is doing. And that's what I'm seeing. So you guys locking it up, I would recommend getting more time in your contract just to give you more time to figure out what you want to do. Maybe the market comes back, maybe it doesn't. And then 30 days from then, you can have a conversation with your seller and decide if it's something you want to continue or not continue with. So that's one piece of information that I've been definitely collecting. And it's all in the follow-up. Now the number one thing I see is fear, especially among sellers. They don't know their house was worth 300,000 2 months ago, and now it's worth, maybe 250 or 260. So, and one thing with fear is it compounds. Human emotion compounds the more that this coronavirus goes on. So don't stop marketing. Do not stop marketing. Keep your marketing channel going, because those same sellers that tell you no today, somebody says no right now, they tell you, no, I'm not interested. They'll call you back in 30 days once they've seen enough CNN and NBC, and they'll say, hey, you know what? I'm interested to talk. What can you do? So don't take no as a no, and do not get off the gas on marketing. Like, this is the time to double up on your marketing. From everything that I'm seeing, this is the best time to double up and create those relationships.
Yeah, and actually, I'm glad that you brought that up, because I've had a few people that told me no 4 months ago at the beginning of the year. But now, like, this one lady, she texted me last week or 2 weeks ago, hey, Alejandro, just want to see if you're still interested. I was like, of course. Like, you're texting me back to see if I'm interested, of course. And we're still in contact with that lady, just negotiating with her right now.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, don't stop marketing, really. No
And
matter
the
what.
today, and these are conversations you need to have with your sellers. When you're talking to a seller, you need to educate them, because you're coming in as the pro. We need to educate them and say, hey, this is today's price. If I offer you $80,000 for your house, this is the price today. If we sign it today, we have a 24-hour period. This is today's price. The markets are going up and down. I hope you can understand that, Mr. Seller. And I don't do this every day, but this is what I see. This is today's price. It could go down in 2 weeks or 3 weeks or a month. So if they call you back a month later and they say, hey, is that 80K still on the table? Maybe the market changed. Now it's 70, so that's the conversation that every wholesaler needs to have, is not only making your offer, but creating a reason behind it. There's a validity behind it, and educating them as the professionals that you are, of why the offer stands and why you're offering the number.
Yeah, but don't stop marketing, guys. No matter what, don't stop marketing.
Yeah, no, for sure. Okay. With that being said, guys, I'm very, very grateful for today. I hope this was a good value. Any closing tips, Ted, that you want to offer?
Yeah. Maybe I really don't know. Just keep marketing, guys. I know it's kind of hectic right now, a lot of stuff going on, but hey, maybe if you're marketing right now, maybe they want to sell in 2 weeks, maybe they want to sell in a month, or maybe they want to sell once this is over in, I don't know, a month, 2 months maybe. But you always want to keep that pipeline full. You always want to keep the messages coming in, whether it be negative or positive. Just keep the messages coming in.
Absolutely. And guys, just as add on, I'm obviously, you guys know me. I'm the founder. I built this software for you guys, but I've never been more convinced that this is the best time to market. This is the best time to get everything out there. And now, and even as a brand, even as the founder, I really want you guys to make sure that you're successful. So what we're doing, you'll see the software exploding with features. We've got so many things coming out. And then now, even with the COVID, everything going on, we're making it as affordable as it's ever been. On top of that, we were very gracious enough to partner with HBHS. The guys there, I can't speak highly enough. They're going to be training you guys. So not only do you get a subscription, not only do you, when you subscribe, you pay the $100-$200, you also get training from the best in the game. You get the best system out there. And especially me, like, I'm a consumer too. When I buy software, I buy something that I feel like I'm in position with to use for the next year. I don't like to switch, go back and forth with this and that. So I just know that I'm playing all out for you guys to make sure we have the best SMS platform, which we do, and will continue to over the next 5-10 years. So very excited for what's to come here. And we're committed to you guys. We have a private community where we train you. We've got tons of people all over the country that are doing it, and doing it on a big way, just like Ted.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Keep going, guys. Turn up the hustle.
Turn up the hustle. So check out HBHS, guys. You can find them on Instagram and Facebook. Ted, thank you, man. I sincerely appreciate you coming on today, brother.
Appreciate you, man. If I can ask real quick, everybody that hasn't joined the HBHS Association, please join, guys. I mean, we're giving out free knowledge, free tips, Manny Cash with this with the live calls. I mean, it's free, guys. If it's crazy if you don't want to join. I mean, please join, guys.
Yeah. So how can they find you? What would be the best way for us to find HBHS?
HBHS, yeah. So I think if Frank is still in here, if you could drop the association link. But HBHS Home by Home Selling Association, it's a Facebook group. Just join in the group and I guess just search it up on Facebook. For anybody, all the team members, we're all there. We're all linked on to the Facebook group. Want to find us on Instagram, Home by Home Selling. If you want to find my Instagram, Teddy the Buyer on Instagram. Facebook, Alejandro Contreras. Yeah.
Awesome. All right.
And turnupthehustle.com.
Turnupthehustle.com. Love it. Love it. Love it. Love it. All right, brother. Well, thank you. Be safe, guys. Work on your business. I support you. Reach out. Be loud about your success. I want you guys to, when you guys get a deal, let us know about it. We're here for you. If you need help, don't hesitate to reach out. We definitely want to see you be successful through all this, guys. Sending you guys some love to you, to your families at home, and definitely praying for you and your businesses through all this as we grow, as we go.
Yeah. Turn up the hustle, everybody.
Thanks, Adam.
Thank you, Adam.